Broad Cal Apocalypse now. Yeah, real. The GCP inspired me for real. Yeah. Tick, 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 booyah. With this writ, get flipped straight to no more crawling, no more screw Who was the amnesty of aid? Now me, I'm mine. God of my chest, I'm Lord of the mind. Our government, stand with the spine up 100 men. At the front line, stand 90 degrees. No fear for machine, man is supreme. We come again. Feel you on your knees. That I recommend that things be revealed. Don't shy at the end, cause we got no beginning but the womb, and she not from here, baby. Set the moon on the tomb or the sun. How about all of the above? Tick, 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 booyah. It's time for we booyah. Here I descend from a prodigy, the other me's. Cause of them, now I gotta be solidly. And I represent right, moving left. Fool everybody but the Moors, cause we made you. Son, I'm a store too, port of the L, right? Length with height, home is the base, reach safe, bring your light. Runway the night, Drew circle the 7. Don't know, better start soon. Can't keep it real when your life in the cartoon. Everything came free, but nigga, it'll cost you. Skate with your nation and stay stateless. 14th Amendment, pointless to argue. Time ticks down, you're getting this cheated. Fully mistreated, though steady, just breathing, not grown. Just leeching what's on with up rooms. Wake up, tick, 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 booyah. With this writ, get flipped straight booyah. No more crawling, no more screw up. Who up? Amnesty of age.
Backing off frauds with cards national. In Northwest, some Ottawa's not my capital. Fez like a Merlin hat, I stay magical. Stand on your birthright square, they label you radical. Flow like libations, every day it's sabbatical. I self-law and master science mathematical. It's tragical, dramatical. This Moorish Othello, I rather black on black, I don't do black and yellow. Compass and square, fair trap, Masonic fellows and matrons. Slew them not just sodomites and pagans. Most maroons need to stop saying Jamaican and calling Euros American, they are Caucasian.
Me, I'm a 9, try to make a 7 here, try to make a heaven here, living in the devil's lair. Freedom is a mental clear, color is a spectrum, don't you see through spheres? Tunnel mind is a bridge, a program over there. In the spell with the magi, medium, playing good, but they really the bad guys. Feeling them, I'm reeling them, cause I'm Moorish American, this is our land, and that's what we're inheriting. Tick, 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 booyah, with this writ, get flipped straight to no more crows, no more screw up. Who was? Yo. Yeah, it's me, Mr. L, Mr. Bro, Lord, Raw, Cal L. Yeah. Apocalypse now. Watch the time tick, tick, then tick,
I was searching for a better way, and then I found you, He gave me nationality and brought me back to reality. I was searching for a better way, and then I found you, He gave me nationality and brought me back to reality. I was searching for a better way. I found you, and He saved me. Drew He brought me back to reality. So now I was searching for a better way. Found you, He gave me nationality. He brought me back to reality. I was searching for a better way, and then I found you, He gave me nationality and brought me back to reality.
Tell you a little story about a monster creature the most deceptive creature on the planet. While his words move in a rhythm meant to hypnotize, he makes himself up to appear to be one thing today and another tomorrow, bringing innocent yet unaware believers to his side, to be fleeced by his minions and cohorts, while he yet lingers with the people, secretly sucking on their energies and living off of their virtues. He positions himself to cause them to believe that he suffers as they do. He feels the pain which they bear, all the while growing fat from their energies, enshrined by their attention. He stores up so much of their moral power he is able to produce monsters out of it, reflections, illusions which resemble himself, appearing to be caring and comforting. These doppelgangers, these abominations he uses as diversions for his escape. Yet his destination is never far, for without the will of the many people to propel him, he is more or less a flightless creature. A creature of almost no substance and no will other than to survive. A cosmic nomad of nefarious origins, he has stumbled upon this planet, exiled from all other sentient civilized systems he once haunted. A being not so much living as lived, existing mainly within the lower, baser regions of the mind. Partial to no particular environment, complexion, or political system, he is a bounty hunter, a mercenary who subcontracts his work to willing yet unaware volunteers who forfeit their true profits to him. To the victor go the spoils, but to the Negro goes a more lively and valuable treasure. Like a leech, he grows off of the lifeblood of the living, infecting others and leading them to an existence of the same. An existence that projects scarcity where there is abundance, fear where there is love, and darkness that can only pretend covered light. Honors to the Prophet Noble Drew Ali for leading us out of the darkness and into the marvelous light, and for reminding us that we are not Negro, black, or colored, but Moors, much more, much more, much more.
I was searching for a better way, and then I found you, Ale.
Wisdom of the Womb. That was off the Wisdom of the Womb compilation album. WillofAllah.com. It's a 3-disc, by the way. Give honors to the Prophet Noble Drew Ali. Supreme honors to the Prophet. Supreme honors to the Prophet Noble Drew Ali. Honors to all the Moors worldwide. All of the Els, Bays, Days, and Alis. Honors to you. Peace and love. Just wanted to let you know what's going on out here. Like we said, we were searching for a better way. And then we found Noble Drew Ali. And out here, Canaanland, which, see, it says Toronto right there. Toronto is an indigenous word. That's not some European foreigner word. Toronto is an indigenous word. So when Toronto does something under the guise of we're the city of whatever, that's an indigenous word that they're using, not a European colonist word. It's not a word that the Queen made up. It's not a word that the Governor General or Supreme Court of Canada or whatever made up for the name of their city. That's an indigenous word. And Toronto means the meeting place. That's why all these different cultures are here. And when you look at all these different cultures that's here, they all have their own community and all that. They have their own section of the city. Ain't nobody bothering them in their section of the city. But then you have this certain demographic of people classified as Negro, black, colored people black Canadians, African Canadians, and all that BS. And they have no name. They have no connection to the human family whatsoever. Now what's interesting is that when you look it up for yourself, when you go look it up, City of Toronto is a corporation. That's not a government. City of Toronto is a corporation. Look it up. That's not what Canaanland Moore says. You go look it up and people are going to tell you that City of Toronto is a corporation. It's not. It's not connected to the people in this jurisdiction, this indigenous jurisdiction called Toronto, wherever they come from, however they look, has no connection to those people. Zero. And then that has no connection because Province of Ontario is a corporation. And you could look that up to see that Province of Ontario, where the City of Toronto is, both of those are corporations. This is nothing personal. This is what they say. They say we're the corporation of the City of Toronto. So don't look at Moors and you want to put us under some act about some paper terrorist or sovereign BS or whatever like that to try to make it look like we're saying something anti-government. No. We recognize what government is because we study. And we try to impart that to anybody else out here who's really serious about their rights and knowing who they are and all that stuff. So we can start changing the conditions that our people are going through. Because people are looking at all this police arrests, anti-lockdown, people protesting lockdowns and whatever. How come they weren't? Remember, these are some mainly foreign, modern Europeans that are making these arguments. It's not people who are in the black community and all that stuff. It ain't them. It's not them. These are modern Europeans that are standing up for rights. They already know what's up because they have a nationality. So they know what rights are. They're not standing up because they don't know what rights are. These are modern Europeans. What are these Asiatics out here in Toronto standing for? What are they standing for? They're not standing for anything. Because everything they do is black. And you already know, when you look it up in a law dictionary, this is what Moores say. This is not what Moores say. This is what law says. That these people are talking about rights and all that stuff, so then that means law applies. All right? So if laws apply, then laws applies all across the board. And the part where we want to put focus on is that if you classify yourself as something that is not connected to rights, rights don't apply to you. So we have to give honors today for one of your own, your Christian nigger leader, who you want to pump him up and celebrate him and all that stuff. Even he came and told you. But you're playing games like the Moors don't know what we're talking about. The Moors don't know what they're talking about. The Moors are Islamic and all this crazy stuff. Honors to Martin Luther King Jr. Honors to him. Honors to him. Because what was he doing? Saying the same thing that Noble Drew Ali was telling these people. They're sitting over here playing around with everything else is giving them rights. When these Europeans right now are using their constitutional right to protest something And 2 of them might get arrested or something like that, but they're not really stopping what's going on, because you can't stop the people if the people want whatever. The Constitution says republic. So anybody saying anything other than republic, the people have a right to say something about that. Which the people are saying something about that because ain't no COVID measures in the Constitution. This is Europeans. This is what Europeans are talking. Remember, our people aren't talking like this. We're letting you know, as we know law and we study or whatever, we're letting you know. We're coming to let you know that these Europeans are doing the same thing that Moore's been telling you people to do. Why do you think they can't get touched? One, because they have a nationality. They're not Canadian and American. They're Irish and German. They're French. They're not white people. That's not who they are. You might think that's who they are. That's not who they are. You're getting played by somebody. And it ain't the European, because the European is doing the same stuff that Moors are doing right now. You think they ran up in some whatever because these people don't know about rights? And then nobody gets shot except one European lady? One European lady? Let these Negroes go try to run up in there right now and see what happens. Right now with COVID, see what happens. Let all the gangs and whoever like that say, you know what, forget all this. Let's just go rush the White House. Let's see what happens. Let's see if they play that, put up barriers and stuff like that to stop them from moving on what they have a right to move on, because, you know, they're citizens and all that stuff, you know. But our people don't know blacks aren't citizens. Our people don't know that. They think whatever, it doesn't matter what we call ourselves, so we could do what we want. No, it doesn't work like that, because look at these Europeans that ran in the goddamn capital under some, they have a right to do that. Because they think that, hey, you guys are messing around with our president and stuff like that. We voted him in. What you mean? You're going to bring somebody else in. We already know the votes are fake and all that stuff. We already know he won all over the country. You listening to CNN? What they say? Biden what? Kamala Harris what? The game is what's going on in the background, not what they're showing you. So as you're distracted with all this stuff going on and stuff on news, you gotta wear a mask and Moors are over here like, hold on a second. How come all these Europeans defied orders that their government told them they can't do this, they can't stand up here, they can't do whatever. They need to wear a mask, whatever. They're not wearing no mask or nothing like that. And nobody get tickets? 5 people get arrested or whatever? 5 people get arrested. And when everybody gets tired, then everybody just goes home. Ain't nobody staying out there all night or whatever. Not camping out there. At a certain time, everybody's going home. You come back tomorrow, go again. Because it's a game. They're buying time. They're modern Europeans. They're foreigners. Because if we say those people are a fraud in the government or whatever like that, it not only is the U.S. government or whatever fraud, but anybody who's been part of them is a fraud too. And they're dissolved. And once your citizenship's dissolved, you have to go back to where you come from. You can't still be playing around like you're supposed to be over here, doctrine of discovery or whatever. That stuff is over. And that already happened in 1929 with Noble Drew Ali. And it's happening again. 1920s to 2020s. It's happening again. They already fell, but the start of their fall is happening again. Why? Because our people still want to play this game like they weren't told and they don't know what's up, while everybody around them is doing what's up and getting whatever remedy they're supposed to get. Our people are playing games. So here's your nigger leader. This is how they look at your leader. asclaw.org. Again, honors to Martin Luther King Jr. You saw mountaintops and all that stuff. You saw promised lands and all that. What do you think he's telling you? What do you think he's saying? He's letting you know I was a traitor. I was pushing all this Christianity and I was pushing this integration and all this stuff when that's not where it's at. You know, civil rights and all that stuff. You think they didn't murder Malcolm because he was about to link with El Shabazz and all that stuff? You think it? What do you think? Because everybody was on the mindset, hey, he just went to the continent or whatever, coming back, telling us that everybody's waiting for us to stop being black. Just go read his stuff when he came back from Mecca. There's no black people and white people and all that stuff. People got nationalities. And then he came back with L. And then Martin Luther King is really Michael. And then that's Mika L. And Martin's a L too. Name's not Martin. He's a L too. So honors to him for telling the people. Whether they picked up on it or not, that's on them. They can't say he didn't tell them. I don't care about anything else that he said and anything else that he made reference to. The most important things that he made reference to is what Moors are going to tell you right now what he made reference to. Everything else is BS. Everything else was part of the sellout and the traitor that all these black whoever's have to do in order to get the position. Right? You could even say El Hajj sold out. Because until he had L, he was playing games. Till he went to Mecca, he was playing games. Just like all the rest of them. Have no nationality but talking about rights. Rights don't apply to you if you don't have a nationality. And if you have a nationality, then the obligation of you as someone with a nationality is to stand for the law. You're not standing for fictions. Because you have a God-given right. That's not what just nature says and God says. That's even what this government that they say is violating them says. So they're violating you and then telling you that you got rights. You know you got rights and they hit you in the head. You know you got rights, they hit you in the head again. You got lots of rights, you know, and then they got you on the ground, knee in your neck. Yeah, you got rights. You just go, yeah, you guys voted for the Civil Rights Act. We passed that, whatever. Yeah, you got rights. And then you're getting shot up. And your children getting shot up. And your daughter's getting raped. And people dying of drugs from their foremothers who are crackheads. And you don't get what's going on? That's a campaign? All right, keep playing. Don't say that they didn't tell you. Today, as we honor Martin Luther King Jr., it is important to remember that he was motivated as much by his admiration for the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution as he was God's words in taking the grievances of Black America public. Just before telling his audience in Memphis that he had been to the mountaintop and has seen the promised land, King made reference for the last time to the aspirational language of the Declaration and the Constitution, referring to them as those great wells of democracy which the founding fathers dug deep. There he is right there letting you know that he's a sellout. He's telling you, I sold you out. How is he saying that? Because he's talking about democracy, but he's talking about constitution. There's no democracy written in any constitution unless it's a fraud. And if you check the Constitution for the United States of America, Republic, you see there's nothing called democracy in there, only republic. So if only republic is there, no democracy, and then people are talking democracy, but telling you about Constitution, that means they're a sellout. Because there's no one in their competent mind that's going to read the Constitution. It doesn't say anything about democracy in there, but you're talking about you're a citizen of a democracy and your Constitution is the same Constitution that says republic and doesn't say democracy. But you're calling your thing a democracy, that's your government. You're a sellout. He let you know that he was a sellout. That's why we give him honors, because he came out and told you, I'm a sellout. What is it that he told Belafonte? That I think I led my people into a burning building. What do you think he's telling you? I sold out. So I'm letting you know everything right now in this speech or whatever like that, because they're about to take me out. Because I wasn't supposed to find out about what this is really about. Michael Jackson, before they assassinated him, converted to Islam, and he's saying Mikael. Why does he call himself Mikael and convert to Islam if he doesn't know about Moors? Are you dumb? Michael Jackson was talking about, who had influence all over the whole entire world, regardless of where people think he liked children or whatever, didn't even matter. That's Michael Jackson, the moonwalk guy. We don't care. He's the best ever. I don't care about how much facelifts he got. He has no nose. I don't care. That's Michael Jackson. He's the best ever. Yeah, I saw his baby pictures. He didn't look like that, but Michael Jackson's the best ever. Shut the hell up. He's L. Converted to Islam. And Janet. Think they don't know what's up? You think him coming out talking about all these record executive people and all that stuff, you think he didn't know what was up? You think he wasn't letting you know, hey, I sold out. I'm just putting everything out right now because I sold out, and I'm just letting you know that I sold out, so I'm revealing everything. And you could do whatever you want with it. I don't care, because they're already gonna kill me. I already know what's up. I'm out of here. So, you know what I mean? What do you think they shipped Janet off? She would have got it too. It was probably get her. But she already caught the play. A married guy from over there and all that stuff, you know. To be protected under rights. Not this civil stuff that these people have been playing around with, talking about. That's what's for our people. These people have to be held to what they put on paper. That's just what it is. If you don't want to, whatever, because the man said what he said. He made reference to certain things that only Noble Drew Ali made reference to. And as soon as people start talking like that, we're looking at it like they know what's up. But then our people claim to love them, but then they're not doing the stuff that they said is what should be done and all that, and then they keep complaining about stuff. Remember, this is not what Moors are saying. This is what their boy, black preacher guy, we all are one, love and all that stuff. Same stuff Noble Drew Ali was saying. Learn to love instead of hate and stuff like that. Same stuff. But you think he didn't know? He knew too much. He knew too much and gave it all up for death. Just go look at the picture. Just go look at the picture on the balcony and ask yourself, why is he gripping the balcony like he sees something coming? How come he's gripping the balcony as if he saw it coming? And don't forget Steve Coakley, and he's telling you about there was somebody underneath the balcony shooting too. Don't you worry about the guy in the bushes over there. The guy by the pool has some responsibility too. That ain't nobody gonna talk about. And then if this is Martin Luther King and they had security and all that stuff, how come no shots went off and all that? How come no people ran out with guns because he had security with guns? Why they got security with guns for? For what? Just to not be there on the day he gets shot? How? How is there no security there? That's why we give honors to Steve Coakley, because people are looking all over the place at stuff and not looking at what's in their face. Where the hell is the security at? How did he even get on the balcony, just him and all the traders alone on the balcony? Where's the security at? People, he got his hate mail too and all that stuff. People want to kill him, hang him, nigger and all that stuff. He got his stuff too. What you mean? We know he had security with guns. We know that. Where were they at when the shooting happened? How come they weren't running out with the guns drawn, trying to find out what's going on? There's security. Oh. Okay. And then now you have to look at everybody who's on the balcony. Because how come none of these people said, hey, where's the security? Four of them up there, one's about to get it. And then nobody's questioning the three guys on the balcony when there's no security around. This is Martin Luther King. This is a guy who they're going to go on a bridge and 1 million people are going to follow him across a bridge. What do you mean? What are you talking about? He's not protected. We know they had security. So how come there was no security there? And then how come when he was doing the Christian and all that stuff, nobody was worried about him and all that stuff when he was Christian minister and all that? Ain't nobody worried about him. As soon as he start talking a certain way though, something happens. As soon as Khalid went up to talk about Islam, I'm a Moor. He didn't say I'm Bay and all that stuff. He said I'm a Moor. What more you want? Then he just dies, aneurysm, just like that. And all these Black Panther guys, nobody did no investigation of nothing. Nobody called up some people to have sit down to find out what the hell's going on here. All the black whoever's claim that they love them, they didn't do anything. They didn't come out saying, oh yeah, you know, whoa, he said that he's a Moor. We go talk to these Moors and find out what this thing's about. Because Khalid, you know, Khalid's our guy. That's our black general guy. If he said he's a Moor, why are you playing games and not following suit? How come you're not following suit? That's your black guy. Oh, you're just... Your black guy said he's a Moor. He's got sense enough to know he's a Moor. He's not Kunta Kinte and all that stuff. Forget all that came from Africa and all that BS. I'm a Moor. And all the people around him, they're looking at the ceiling and looking out the window and pretending like they never heard what he said. And Moors are in there like, these niggas. These niggas. This is your black power guy right now telling you. And nothing? No, everybody jumping up saying that they're Moors? Oh, no, I know what happened on the balcony with Martin then. If that's the case, you know exactly what happened on the balcony with Martin and why there was no security and all that. And we know same thing with El Haj. These guys, two people get up, get you out of my pocket, get you out of my pocket, and then no security? At our class at the temple, somebody talk crazy, and Amor is gonna say something. Hey, you can't do that, or that's not what it is. Hey, nobody, or they'll say something. I'm gonna sit there like you could just say what you want in the temple. When we went to Mecca in 2008 to the Moor Science Temple there that brought us into this, Amor whispered to Amor, and the Mufti was on him. You're telling me somebody's jumping up, talking, having conversation or whatever like that during the meeting, and a Mufti didn't run up to them like, hey, what are you doing right now? What are you doing right now? They got to the point of have whatever, turn around, get out the aisle or whatever, pull out guns, and murder somebody. Everybody in that room sold out. So when we talk that your leaders have told you, and then the leaders that told you get murdered, and then sellouts talk BS for 50 years after that, and then you're saying, oh yeah, they're the leader guy, thanks to them. Whoever got murdered, well, you know, it was bad. But, you know, we got whoever right now who's a sellout. How is it that certain people could say they created the atmosphere to have people who you love murdered, and then you're still praising the guy who said he created the atmosphere for people to get murdered years later? You're still giving him honors? No different than El Haj, you know, finding out people were dealing with pedophilia and all that stuff like that. You still giving them honors after? Well, honors to him because, you know what I mean, when I was in jail, the teachings of him is what kept me in the way of Islam and all this. The hell out of here. You're a sellout. There's no way the pedophile gets to run around as if that's cool. No way. No way the pedophile gets honors after you find out he's a pedophile. He's like, oh yeah, honors to him because when I was in my bad times, he was on the phone and he listened to me. He's a pedophile. What are you talking about? Are you giving him honors? So you can't play deal with the traitor stuff. Either you're on the side of righteousness or you're a traitor. Either you're on constitutional law or you're a traitor. Either you're on natural law or you're a traitor. You're either for uplifting all fallen humanity or you're a traitor. There ain't no levels. There's no levels to this. All of this to tell you that we know Martin sold out. We know he sold out. But he gave you everything after selling out. And he's not here anymore. So obviously, how he left here, those natural causes why we left here. Because once the sellout says, okay, well, you know what? Sorry for selling out. I didn't mean. Now, they know all the dirt that's been going on for the past how much every years when they were a sellout. What do you think they're going to do? You don't think they're not going to tell? You don't think they're going to file some suit or whatever like that? Figure out something? Get those people out the way. And always make sure you have a traitor ready to put in place so that the people, because they're just dumb, they're just sheep, they just follow the guy at the podium. The sheep are going to follow the guy at the podium. Because that now becomes their Christ guy. Not somebody coming down from the clouds or whatever. The guy who has the 1,000 million views from the podcast with the mic covering his face, but he's on video, and then you like, why you have the mic in front of your face if you're on video? I'm supposed to see you, but you realize people have been playing games with you. It's always your own. It's always your own. That's going to sell you out. And again, we give supreme honors to Noble Drew Ali because he's before Martin. And if Martin's saying the same stuff that Noble Drew Ali was saying, then obviously he knew what was up. There's no way he could get that far and not know what was up. For King, repeatedly invoking the abstract principles of the Declaration and the Constitution were intended to accomplish two essential goals, each of which were co-joined in the pursuit of social justice. The first was to remind those who viewed him as un-American that he was following in the tradition of the men who founded and established the United States by refusing to follow unjust laws and denied individuals fundamental freedoms. In his famous 1963 letter from a Birmingham jail, King alluded to the Boston Tea Party as an example for civil disobedience, writing that in our own nation, the Boston Tea Party represented an act of massive civil disobedience. That was not the first time King made reference to the Boston Tea Party as a moral baseline for the direct action of the civil rights movement. Just a little over 3 years before, King's letter was published in bits and pieces in popular magazines around the country. King made reference to the Boston Tea Party in an interview on NBC. Remember, you're talking about, he's from the Christian realm, so he already knows what's up. Play games with the dumb Negroes. That's why they put him in talented tent and all that type of stuff. The black figures for the Black History Month stuff and all that. That's all the traitors. That's all the people who went all the way sell out or eventually said, forget this, and then they got murdered. But not after they, or not before they gave up all the goods on what's up. Writing from prison, go do speech, whatever, and all the niggers do. That's all the niggers do. That's all. That's all they know. Sing hymns and clap for BS. Applaud. That's all they're about. Wiserhood. King, of course, had come to national attention as the public face of the Montgomery bus boycott, which began in December 1955 and lasted just about a year. For King, calling attention to injustice through nonviolent direct action, was firmly within the spirit and intellectual architecture of the American political tradition. Right? And then that's what goes back into your idea that when we look at Noble Drew Ali's position in all this, right? The fact of the matter that Noble Drew Ali took the position of letting the people know. He wasn't a sellout though. He was letting them know, just like King's letting them know. The same way King's letting them know. The same way King's letting them know is how Drew Ali was letting them know. Now there's no getting around the fact that there's definitely games being played. That you better know what's up. Because not knowing is detrimental to you. Being ignorant is definitely not where you want to be at. You don't want to be there. You don't want to be there. Every opportunity that you create, to enforce the Constitution and to stand on right law is following the ways of your ancient foremothers and forefathers, which Martin is that, Garvey is that, Francis Cress Welsing is that. You name them, they're that. And when you check really into what it is that they presented, you realize that it was right in line with what Noble Drew Ali said. Whether it was from a psychological perspective, whether it was from a constitutional perspective, whether they're talking from some law perspective, metaphysical, whatever, everything has a reference point back to what Noble Drew Ali presented to the Moors. That, as we see, everybody was down with. Everybody was down with it. And they were letting the people know what was up. And the people, in their ignorance, in their traitorous mindset, to really not go with what their guy is saying, what their master teacher of whatever is saying. They're not riding with that. They're taking what their master teacher said, throwing it in the garbage, and volunteering for the abuse. Volunteering for unconstitutional activity on them. And like we said in the beginning, we're showing you how these modern Europeans right now for this COVID thing are using the fact that they have a nationality and enforcing the Constitution on people who are claiming to be government. This is what modern Europeans are doing right now. Because we already know, Asiatics have nothing to do with United States of America, United States citizen, all that is modern European stuff. Has nothing to do with our people. Zero. They have nothing, absolutely nothing to do with that. I don't care if they're there. They got nothing to do with that. They're just there wasting their time. So go back and check Martin. Go check him. Go check Martin. Because where he was at, he was letting these people know what's up. He was letting them know what's up. And everything that the intellectuals use from Martin Luther King as a reference point to what he stood for was based in exactly what Noble Drew Ali was talking about. Right? Exactly. Second, King's invocation of the Declaration and Constitution was a conscious attempt to soothe white America's fears that the civil rights movement represents some foreign directed effort to undermine American social and political institutions. And remember, they're calling it civil rights. If he's talking Constitution, that's not a civil rights whatever. That's not civil rights movement if he's talking about Constitution and Declaration of Independence. Some other traitor is telling you that that's a civil rights movement to get your mindset where it's not supposed to be. Because the civil rights and Constitution cancel themselves out. Because you can't have civil rights. That doesn't exist. That's a fiction. And you can't be in a dead status and talk about constitutions. So I was telling you again, all these people that found out. Prince said, I don't even want a name. I'm going to be a symbol. Because you find out. These people will take your name. And everything that you own under that name belongs to them. That's why he always talked masters. That's off the grid. If you want to talk what's off the grid. Off the grid, yeah, we're going to go in and we'll have walkie-talkies in the bushes. No. Off the grid has nothing to do with the corporation. Own your masters. As far as music or whatever. Don't have some foreign corporation raping you for your own stuff. That's simple. He knew what was up. Told everybody. All the award shows coming out telling people, hey, you know what? These people are fucked or whatever. We need to have our own stuff. Hey, anybody listen to him? Oh, no. But they'll, Prince is the greatest ever. We don't care if you wear frill shirts and all that stuff. You wore skinny jeans before skinny jeans. He's the best ever. You can't do nothing about it. But we know he knew something. Because he was Islam too. He was mystic. He was Sufi and all that stuff. He was New Age and all that. He wasn't Negro, black colored. He wasn't Christian and all that. In his most famous public address, the I Have a Dream speech delivered August 28, 1963, March on Washington for Jobs and Freedom, King, at the top of his remarks, noted that 50 years ago, a great American in whose symbolic shadow we stand today signed the Emancipation Proclamation. 2 paragraphs later, King would refer to the magnificent words of the Constitution and the Declaration of Independence as a promissory note to which every American was to fall heir. Only Moors talk like that. Stop the BS. Negro black color guys don't talk like that. Masons don't talk like that. Certain people don't talk like that when you talk about the liberation of our people. They don't talk about promissory notes and constitution and all that. Only Moors talk like that. You look at all the schools of thought. Who talks about constitution? Find me some Nuapian or Rastafarian or whatever that's talking about constitution and rights. Stop the BS. Everybody knew what was up and they were telling you. So you want to follow what the traitors say. Or they were for the civil rights of our people. They were for the non-violent, whatever like that. How is it non-violent if he got murdered, shot in the face? It's quite non-violent. It's kind of that's real non-violent right there. Kill Fred Hampton next to his mate in the bed and all that stuff. That's very non-violent. Kill Noble Drew Ali, however they did it. That's violent. That's poisoning his food. Oh yeah, they're non-violent. This note was the promise that all men, yes, black men as well as white men, would be guaranteed an unalienable rights to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Right? The black man is them. The white man is him. He's giving it all away. Remember, he was Christian. He already knows what's up. All the Christian whoever's, they know what's up. All of them know what's up. All of them know it's allegory and it's metaphysical. It's not stand on the podium and all that stuff. That's not what it is. That's a front. It's a front to get paid by the state. Like, they know what's up. That's why they get paid by the state. On top of the tithes that people give them. One of the Moors told their mom, "Hey mom, you really like the church stuff a lot, huh? Yeah, whatever. You ever add up how much tithes you pay to these people?" No. You should probably add up what tithes you pay to these people. Because you're tripping. Added up the stuff or whatever. Thousands. Right there, common sense kicked in. Like a kick to the back of the head, common sense kicked in. Never paid a tithe again to these people. And she was religious, pay tithes. So from the top, he was a sellout. He was given to the people. But if the sellout is a spook by the door, who's a tattletale, you're gonna find the code for the whatever and then tell everybody the code so everybody could get in the back way. You probably have to do something about that. Because the sellout knows too much. And the ones that keep it quiet and don't talk about Constitution and keep talking about civil rights and whatever, they're still alive. And that's how they get out of it. By keeping the game going. Oh yeah, we'll go here again. 2 paragraphs later, King would refer to the magnificent words of the Constitution and the Declaration of Independence as a promissory note to which every American was to fall heir. Only Moors talk about heirs and stuff like that. You know, Negroes talk like that. This note was the promise that all men, yes, black men, which is the Europeans, as well as white men, which is us, would be guaranteed the unalienable rights of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. For the 250,000 people who gathered on the mall in Washington, D.C. this afternoon, such a public gathering represented what the First Amendment was intended to do: allow individual citizens the freedom to assemble peaceably and to petition the government for a redress of grievances. Just like the 52,000 black Montgomery citizens who endured economic reprisal and violent terror by insisting that the First Amendment permitted them to express their grievance peacefully and lawfully. For King, the First Amendment, sometimes referred to as the people's darling privileges, which is not a privilege. If it's a right to do something, it's not a privilege. So it being referred to as the people's darling privilege, and the people don't challenge them on, what do you mean privilege? Then you just acquiesce to rights. Now privileges apply to you because you fell for the game. And then that's one part of the game. And then your identity, that you don't think it's about nationality, it's about we're orange people. That's a lane. And there's all these little avenues that they got that they could fuck you. Because you don't want to hear what Noble Drew Ali said. You don't want to hear what Martin said. You don't want to hear what El Haj said. You're not listening to Khalid. You're not listening to Dr. York. You're not listening to Delbert Blair, who's a Bay. You're not listening to Dr. Sabi, who told you mucus is the stuff. You get mucus out your body, you're not going to get no COVID. It ain't no big deal. You want to eat McDonald's and not get COVID? It doesn't work like that. Because once you got mucus in you, you're vulnerable. Real simple. You don't hear none of that. And he told him, yeah, we know about Noble Drew Ali, and he brought herbs and all that stuff before me. Like, what are you guys talking about? I mean, this is some new stuff that Dr. Sabi's doing. Noble Drew Ali had herbs. Talking about before Sabi. I mean, you're not riding with Noble Drew Ali, but you're riding with Sabi. But Sabi rides with Noble Drew Ali because he sold herbs just like Sabi sells herbs. You play your little games, though. Your little black games. It's a right, not a privilege. If you say, I got privileges, then you just said you don't want rights, and then none apply to you. Darling privilege, nothing. It's the First Amendment to the Constitution. That's what it is. It doesn't need a nickname, doesn't need a quote unquote and all that stuff. It already has what it is. Call it what it is. Stop playing games. Because it's more you're calling when these people are going to take your house. And when they're trying to bring up some charges on you because you didn't have a license and all that stuff, it's more you're going to call. So we're telling you now, stop playing. We're telling you from now, stop playing. Been telling you, but we're still telling you, stop playing. You're being dumb right now. You're really being dumb. And you have to stop it. For King, the First Amendment, sometimes referred to as the people's darling privilege, was tied to the promise of the 14th Amendment that all persons in the United States were guaranteed the equal protection of the law. That's why they made it a privilege and made up the little fiction so they can tie it to the 14th Amendment, which Noble Drew Ali said, that's not necessary for the salvation of the people or whatever, because we got nationality. What are you talking about? What are you talking about 14? You didn't even pass 1 yet. You don't even have jurisdiction to pass 1. What do you mean 14? How you get to 14? You got 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 before you get to 14. Are you going right straight there? People are playing games only because the people allow it, because they want to play incompetence opposed to following what their foremothers and forefathers said. Enforce the Constitution on these modern Europeans who are violating it. If you don't enforce the Constitution, then you're classified as a ward, and they do whatever they want to you. And don't think what you see Europeans going out there fighting for COVID and stuff like that, how come they let them run up in the town, nobody shot them down in cold blood or whatever, but if we were there, they would have been murdering us or whatever. But they're not talking about when they were there and National Guard was out there protecting them from not getting their ass beat. How about that? You forgot about those ones? You forgot about the time when same people who you say is the enemy, you're saying, hey, you guys are murdering us or whatever. You have them protecting you from the people who, modern Europeans, are about their constitution and stuff like that, and they know you're not citizens and you don't got no rights. You're a slave. What are you talking about? What do you mean you want to go march and stuff like that? We're going to run you over in the street. You don't have rights. You're a black guy. You're Negro, you're colored. You're a slave. Slaves don't have rights. You came from Africa on a slave ship and all that stuff. What rights are you talking about? Rights don't apply to you. You say out your own mouth, you're a slave from Africa. Cool, no problem. Murder in the street. Hey, you can't do that. We got rights. Murder in the street. Hey, you can't do that. Steal their organs. Kidnap their children. Put them in prison. Give them all these drugs. Make sure that they can't function properly in society. Give them more drugs because whatever. They don't want to take the drugs, put it in the food. They don't want the food, put it in the water. And they keep doing their BS. Because our people beg for it. Instead of listening to what the people before them who were standing up for them did for them and said for them in order to inspire them to do the same. But they don't want to do the same. They want to be slaves from Africa and all that stuff and not have rights. All right, then don't get mad. Don't get mad. Far from encouraging violence and extra legal measures to achieve the broader goals of enfranchisement, personal freedom, and equal standing, King was committed to constitutionalists who believed the remedies for what ailed the nation were right there in front of it. Why? You don't have to go run up and down with guns and go kill Europeans or whatever like that if you exercise your constitutional right that you have a right to bear arms. Why do I need to go murder people or whatever? They know they'll get murdered if they cross that thing that says, you know what I mean, private property or whatever. It's not a question. Nobody's going to jump over the fence that says beware of dog and you're going to jump over the fence. Why would you even you wouldn't even consider. You're just going to see, you don't know dogs back there or not. They got an alligator back there. Beware of a dog, you jump over there, you and 50 alligators. What are you going to do? They told you don't jump over the thing. But you want to play games. All right, you want to play games, then get what you get. Don't get mad. Take that L. So that's why he said he's going to be committed to constitutionalists. Not committed to civil rights or whatever. That has nothing to do with law. But now you don't want to hear what he's saying. You know. You want to hear everything else except the constitutional talk. But that's the most important stuff that he said. But you want to hear everything else. You want to hear about all the Negro stuff. You don't want to hear about the Moorish content. You just want to hear about the Negro stuff and the black stuff and the African stuff and all the other different. But you don't want to hear about the Moorish. As soon as that comes up, everybody goes in a cocoon. You don't want to see, smell, taste touch nothing Moorish. Since his death, Martin Luther King has been mythologized as a man of soft curves rather than hard edges, sometimes lost in the public persona of King, the great orator, leader, and public intellectual, was the truly radical nature of his beliefs, particularly towards the end of his life, just like all the others. Right at the end of their life, when they found out about Noble Drew Ali, they found out about nationality, birthrights. We're not black. This is not about civil rights. This is about human rights. Going to the UN, filing a suit on these people, sue these modern European corporations violating us from medical whatever, physical whatever, because we know what's up. But no, you don't want to listen to your leaders, your nigger black leaders. You don't want to listen to them. You're not listening to Moors, and then you're not listening to your leaders. So who are you really listening to? Because the only other option, the only other people you could be listening to is your master. It's your master. If you're not listening to the Moors, and you're not listening to your black, African, whatever leaders, then the only other individual you can be listening to is your master. And if you're listening to the master and not the will of the people, then you're already a sellout. So when they're eating their chicken and doing their whatever for Martin Luther King on Monday, playing celebrate him and all that stuff, know that he stood for Constitution. So if they want to honor him, how about enforce the Constitution? How about get yourself a nationality? And stop playing games if you're going to honor him. If you're going to have people come over and read his book and all that type of stuff and fireworks for him and all that, how about you honor him by start listening to what Moors are saying? Because we're telling you the same thing that Noble Drew Ali was telling you, which is the message that he got, which is why he was telling you about Constitution. Because only Moors talk like that. There had to be Moors around the Black Panthers for them to say, yeah, we're going to study law. Forget civil whatever. That's BS. Constitutional law is where it's at. Constitutional law is where it's at. If you're talking about you're a citizen of something, it ain't about nothing else but constitutional law. If you're claiming citizen. But if you're claiming citizen and you're talking about something other than constitutional law, obviously you're not a citizen, you're a ward. And wards can't get mad when they get treated like a ward. So honors to the traitor who came around, Martin Luther King Jr. The traitor who told them to their face, well actually he told them in secret, but then somebody snitched. I led my people into a burning building. He's telling you he's sold out. Honors to Harry Belafonte for putting that one out there, because we would have never known. We would have thought he was all good for the people. No, he knew he sold out. He started telling you, started giving up all the goods from the mountaintop. You're not supposed to even tell that he was on the mountaintop, much less be yelling from promised lands or whatever from it. You weren't even supposed to say that. He wasn't even supposed to say that. And everybody who knows what's up knows what he said. And they changed tune. They either corrected themselves and got out of that BS, or they stayed to get their check to keep that stuff going. Like we say, just like with the Michael Jackson stuff and them talking about the industry and all that, everybody was supposed to leave at that point. Everybody was supposed to say, hold on a second, yeah. Look at these dudes. He said he's Michael, moonwalk guy. Said he's Mikael. And he's converting to Islam and all this. And you love him. You're crying at his concert and all that stuff, but you're not going to say you're a Moor? How did he come up with Mikael? How did he come up with that? Was he studying to say, hey, you know what? I'm going to change my name from Michael Jackson to Mikael. And I'm going to convert to Islam. If Mariah Carey knew, so Nick Cannon has a turban and all that stuff because they know what's up. If nobody knows, you see that pendant that Taj always wears? Taj Freak Bay, everybody's a master teacher and whatever. The pendant came from Mariah Carey. Everybody knows what's up. You know, Dr. Malachi York wrote and met with Taj Freak Bay and stuff like that. You know this? Everybody knows what's up. Everybody knows what's up. You know, people who played college basketball with Derrick Rose, NBA MVP Derrick Rose, is a Moor now? They know about their nationality? You think people don't know what's up? You think Kobe and Mamba is not because of Kundalini rising and all that? You think you don't know that he activated his pineal? Everybody knows. You think Will Ferrell just wearing a fez in movies and stuff like that because he's playing a movie part? You think he doesn't know what's up? You had the Make America Great Again fez. And you really think these people don't know what's up? You're looking at Mars crazy? Why don't you know is the question. If Beyonce has Moroccan flag in her video and all that stuff. I know Jay-Z knows. I know he knows. Now the guess does he know? I don't care if he's not putting no money to the march or whatever. That's his stuff to deal with. I know he knows though. Just like I know Martin knew. And El Haj knew. Just like we know Elijah Muhammad knows. We know Farrakhan knows. We know he knows. We don't assume he knows. We know he knows. They all been telling you. You listening to the mass teachers, or your mind somewhere else? Because when I check Martin, I hear constitutional talk. I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what you're talking about. Civil rights and all that. What are you talking about? Man just said Constitution. Constitution for the whole thing. First Amendments and Second Amendments, and that's not civil rights. So all this time that you're getting, all this time that COVID's giving you right now to yourself, you better start thinking about what the hell you're going to do. Because when this stuff kicks off again, it's a whole different thing going on. You better know where you're at. Especially mentally. Because like we said, right now is King Alfred plan. We've been telling you about King. We've been telling people about King Alfred plan since 2008. We've been telling people about King Alfred plan. We know people have been telling about King Alfred plan before that. And then now, it's happening right now. You're seeing King Alfred plan happen right now. Jwali told these Moors what they're supposed to do. With divine warnings. Not even freaking just warning. Divine warning. Prophet warns all Muslims, all governors and all that. Well, yeah, you think it's a game? All right, keep playing. Keep playing. Honest to Martin King Jr., the sellout, who gave up the goods and told he snitched. And we give honors to him for snitching and putting it out there, knowing that he was a sellout and saying that he sold out instead of playing games with our people. Remember, since his death, Martin Luther King has been mythologized as a man of soft curves rather than hard edges, sometimes lost in the public persona of King the great orator, leader, public intellectual, was truly radical in his beliefs, particularly toward the end of his life. Racism, economic justice, and militarization were the three pillars of King's public conscience. Racism, which you already know is birthright theft, human trafficking, and all that stuff, right? Economic injustice, same thing that Noble Jwali said that we're fighting against. Exact same thing. Right? And militarization, which is better have some backup when people start talking crazy, burn crosses on your lawn and stuff like that, so you could do some stuff. Instead of peeping from the windows, people just standing there on the lawn burning a cross. Isn't that your lawn? Shouldn't you have a little hole that you're sticking something out and getting people off your lawn? Militarization. I thought he was nonviolent and all that stuff. How is a pillar of one of the three pillars of Martin Luther King's public conscience is militarization. But he was non-violent. Somebody's been playing games with you. That's not this European. Europeans not the one playing you. They want you to get caught up in civil rights voting acts and stuff like that. That's not what he was about. King was a revolutionary in the later years because he was a sellout before that. In the later years, before they took him out, yep, it was going down. Just like when Noble Drew Ali and Marcus Garvey. As soon as they decide, hey, we might as well just bring this stuff together and then we have double the people. And then what happened? Yeah, what happened? So, honors to the Prophet Noble Drew Ali, honors to Martin King for following the teachings of Prophet Noble Drew Ali and enforcing the Constitution and teaching these people, our people, that they better read the Constitution, study the Constitution, because that's how you're going to hold these foreigners to their governmental obligations and not violate you and fire hose you in the street and all that stuff. And have the right to bear arms and have the right to have a militia to protect your communities and whatever. And then you had Jeff Fort. Yeah, Jeff Fort is a European name. Malik. Chief Angel. And then started reforming the gangs and then had the gangs as the army because they got all the guns and stuff like that. It's not rocket science. And then what happened? Well, trump up charges, get him out the way, and then these guys are back to murdering each other like dumbasses. And then they don't get what's going on. They murder each other like dumbasses. He has color and he says over there and he says that they're this turf and this block or whatever. When you know that that's the European psychology. The guy lives across that line. He's your enemy, blood enemy for 5,500 years. What are you talking about? Honors to all the Moors. Peace and love. Honors to the Prophet Noble Drew Ali. Once again, give thanks to Dr. King for telling our people the truth, the same truth that Noble Drew Ali told them. Honors to him. And for all the celebrators, have fun. Make sure you wear your mask and stuff like that, because Kyrie just got hit for about 800,000. Somebody was recording stuff when they shouldn't have been recording. And then now people have 800,000 to pay in fines that, these people obviously need because, they shut down the place for COVID, so there's no jobs. And if there's no jobs, no one's working. And if there's no working, there's supposed to be no government going on. And how come government's still going on if nobody's working? How come? Hold on a second. Oh, everybody, okay, so in order for society to run, people got to pay taxes, and then taxes come from when they go to work and when they go buy stuff. Okay. So we shut down the place. Okay. So how are they still getting, oh yeah, they're just going to hit everybody up for tickets. COVID tickets all around to get their little finance back. Because remember, once they write the ticket, that's the money. And they cash that in, then they can get stuff from their treasury. So they know what they're doing. Do you know what you're doing? Peace and love to all the Moors worldwide.
Honors to all the Moors everywhere. Honors to the Prophet Noble Drew Ali. Honors to all mothers. Peace and love to you, mother. Whether you have children or not, you're still a mother. And honors to the Prophet. Prophet's the man. Honors to the Prophet Noble Drew Ali. Peace and love to all the Moors. Islam.